Well, what is the topic of this show? We know that our 20,000 crore value worth seed industry has been dealing issues like seed technology licensing, trait value issues since a long time. And there is a ray of hope last week when NSAI, our National Seed Association of India, and FSII, Federation of Seed Industry of India, met to design a framework to address these issues. This is a positive hope for our Indian agriculture industry and majorly the farmers. So now I proudly introduce Mr. Ram Kaundanya, who has been serving the seed industry since last 22 years. He has served many positions and provided immense value for the growth and development of the Indian agricultural industry. Currently, he is the Director General of Federation of Seed Industry of India. We call it FSII. He is also a proud member of the board who is into designing this framework. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dipti.
Yeah. So, sir, I would request you to explain what is this framework all about?
So, as you mentioned, the industry has been dealing with some issues regarding commercialization of biotech traits in the country.
Right.
You know that we have had BT cotton as the first GM trait which came into the country, but that was almost 20 years back.
Right.
After that, we haven't had much flow except for BG2 which came in 2005. Since then, we haven't had any new traits. Partly it is because of the regulatory logjam, but also partly because of lack of a coordinated approach between the industry players. We have had disputes, we have had confrontation on some of the issues. So, this framework actually is a result of a dialogue and a consensus built around what should be a commercialization framework or a model which can work for the benefit of the farmer, the trait developer and the seed companies. Right. So, this in a way actually balances the interests of different stakeholders and tries to address three critical issues which have plagued the relationships earlier. Number one is about access to the traits, which was a contentious issue that the seed companies wanted more seed companies to have access to the traits and the trait providers operated certain criteria for giving access. So, there was a difference of opinion on that. The second one was about the trait value which was perceived to be unaffordable for the farmer in some quarters, and you know that government had to intervene at some stage and they had to come with price controls in cotton seed. So, that was another issue. The third one was about intellectual property issues between trait and seeds. As a part of the second issue was also the fact that there was no gradual decrease of the trait value in relation to the volume of business that was getting generated. So, these were, I would say, 3 or 4 major issues which were the basis for the disputes and the confrontation. Right. So, this framework tries to address all of them. Right. By defining some criteria for access so that more and more seed companies can get access to the traits. Okay. Also defining certain method of arriving at affordable trait values which will give sufficient return for the company investing in development of trait, but also it will make it reasonably affordable for the farmer. Okay. to use the trait. And third is that to have a kind of a predetermined what is called as a telescopic rate of the trait value which will keep going down. Okay. so that eventually it will become zero. So these are some of the things. Of course, what we agreed in this process was that the disputes about or the respective rights on intellectual property matters, which went up to Supreme Court, those respective rights are not taken away from the parties. They retain those rights, so that in future, anytime they want to use them, they can use them. But right now, we have decided to keep that aside and proceed with the flow of the technology for the benefit of the farmer. I think we all agree that farmer is the greatest sufferer in the last 15 years. Yes. Due to lack of technologies, farmers have become uncompetitive in international markets. Right. Cotton farmers also have started losing their advantage because of the stagnant yields, because there is no technology upgradation. So there are various issues which will get addressed through this framework.
Right. So you rightly said, sir, right, you know, farmers are the ones who suffer majorly. So what kind of benefits are expected to give to the farmers through this framework, specifically for farmers?
So if you see the kind of technologies that are available outside, there are, we have seen only BT in the country.
Right.
But there are other technologies available which are, for example, how can you reduce consumption of water in agriculture? So this is what is called water use efficiency technology. Yeah. How can you reduce usage of fertilizers, particularly nitrogen fertilizer? Consumption can be reduced by using what is called a nitrogen use efficiency technology. Traits, these are called traits. There are traits which are available for withstanding higher temperatures by the crops. You know that climate change is increasing temperatures, and so you need that. Those are available. Then there are traits available to improve the quality of the output, to make it more nutritious. You know, we all know that after the COVID attack, now people are very aware of using nutritious food, consuming nutritious food, so that they can build better immunity. Okay. Right. So if you want to do that also, you need some kind of naturally nutritious crops, right? So there are technologies available to develop such crops, and there are technologies available to make even more nutritious animal feed, for example, okay, out of the crops. So there are various options available under both GM and non-GM. And you also know that there is a new technology coming called gene editing technology. Yes. So which will also, it's a non-GM technology essentially, although there is one aspect of that which might be going through the same regulatory mechanism. But so that technology also will be useful in developing seeds for disease tolerance, higher nutrition. So all these things can flow to the farmers. So as you can see, our farmers can become more competitive using some of these traits, because you know that in many other countries these traits are available. Right. Farmers are able to use them and reduce their costs or compete in international markets. Yeah. We have thrown the markets open, and government's reforms are also making farmers more and more compete for their prices in the market, to discover better prices. So this will be more in line with all that. So this actually will make it a market-driven mechanism, which will open up farmers' ability to compete, increasing his yields, discovering better prices, connecting with customers, producing what is required by the customer, you know, the demand-driven agriculture that we are talking about, so that it is no longer a production-driven agriculture, but a demand-driven agriculture. Right. So all that is possible if we have more technologies made available to him. Good. So I think that's what we can expect from this. As per what you just shared, I am seeing that, you know, it presents a huge opportunities for the farmers, for their growth. Absolutely. Great. So how would this specifically make a difference to the seed industry? So if you see the large number of seed companies, you know, we have more than 400 seed companies in the country. Right. At least maybe 1/3 of them would be having some kind of research facilities.
Definitely.
So they should also find that they are able to develop better varieties for the farmer, because finally how does any technology get delivered to the farmer? Only through seed,
Right.
right? Whether it is a GM trait or non-GM trait or whatever it is,
Yes.
every trait has to be delivered only through seed.
Right.
So the quality of the seed, quality of genetics, what we call, will play a huge role. You know, the performance of a variety, as the breeders will talk about, is always a result of G by E, means it is genetics and environmental interaction.
Right.
So genetics play a huge role in how a trait expresses itself and how effective it is. So seed companies have a huge role to play in developing superior varieties, superior genetics, using some of these technologies, and they are able to offer better quality products to the farmer. See, finally the farmer must get the best products, as good as products available to any other farmer in the world.
Right.
So seed industry's number one benefit will be that they will be able to develop such varieties using some of the technological tools that are coming up now. Second is that they will be able to actually compete in international markets. Even the seed industry will be able to compete in international markets, because you know that Government of India has announced that we should build 10,000 crores worth of seed exports in this decade.
Right.
Currently our seed exports are only about 800 to 1,000 crores.
Right.
So how do we build that? If your seed industry is not competitive in the international markets, if they are not using latest technology, the seed industry will not be able to export seeds to outside world.
Absolutely.
So, and global seed trade is almost 1 lakh crores. And we are targeting a modest 10% now.
Yes.
We are less than 1% now. So there is a huge opportunity for seed industry to tap into if they use the right technologies and develop superior varieties which are suitable for different different countries. Okay, so that I would see as the second big opportunity. Third big opportunity I see is that there are many opportunities which will come up for collaborations. Collaborations could be research collaborations, because once there is a framework of how you will share the benefits. For example, ICR or our public research institutes are doing huge investments in research every year. They develop a lot of technologies, varieties.
Yes.
Even some of these, some of our seed companies will be able to access those technologies which are available with the public institutions through a similar framework, because we do believe that this framework could be useful even to the public institutions to structure their own frameworks. And so this actually gives, this will actually be a catalyst towards making more technologies available to seed companies, and that's how we do believe that seed industry can achieve much bigger growth using some of these benefits.
Good. So one of the points you were sharing is about, you know, taking Indian seed industry into a global front. So if that is to happen, then what kind of technology, what should the technology developers take from this framework?
So technology developers, if you see, their role is investment in development of technology.
Right.
You know very well that anywhere you have to make an investment, whether it is in biotechnology or whether it is in cold storage technology, wherever,
yes,
you need to look at what returns you will get. Right? That is a very basic calculation you will do.
Yes.
So if you are sure of how the regulations are, how the market is, how your product or your technology will be used, you get more confidence to make investments, right?
Sure.
You go and make investments in countries or in states where there is a what we call as ecosystem. The ecosystem must be favorable for you to make investments. So large scale investments have to be made by the technology providers, because this is a very expensive process to develop technologies, whether it is GM or non-GM. You have to make investments in advance. So that will call for confidence in the commercialization model,
Right.
which will work.
Right.
Confidence in the policy support, confidence in regulatory mechanism, confidence in the economy of the country, and various things. So I think this will fix one brick in that whole
True.
picture,
Yes.
that they will have greater clarity from this in terms of how they can recover the investment, how much return on investment they will get.
Right.
So naturally, I would expect that they will make more investments in developing technologies suitable for India. They will also make more investments in transferring those technologies, which are already available outside,
Right.
to bring them to India to carry out regulatory work. Predictability will come into the system, so that they are clear about it. See, there were many questions in people's minds in the last 10 years,
Right.
which also led to the situation where some of the companies have either withdrawn their regulatory applications, or they have put it on hold,
Right.
or they have stopped investing in undertaking trials or more research efforts in India. I think all that will start.
Right.
And I do see that in the next 5 years' time, starting from almost immediately, within the next 5 years, we will see a good flow of technology. I am not saying only GM, I am saying GM, non-GM, everything.
Right.
Technologies which will help the seed companies to develop better quality products. Technologies which will help the farmers to be more competitive. They will flow. And I think that is the role that I am expecting the trade providers to take, to really make that list ready, that what is it that we can give to India,
Right.
what is it that we can introduce in India in this decade, then start working on them.
Good. So, in last few seconds, you spoke something that the technology providers have to be very responsible about in bringing and causing this kind of development. So, what is the role? What is the take of the central government on this framework?
Yeah, I think basically wherever we went and briefed all the senior government officials
Right.
about it, we found that they were very happy with that.
Okay.
Basically, everyone has been looking that the country was losing a chance to equip our farmers with the right technologies, and so in a competitive world, even to stay where you are, you have to keep running, right?
Right.
So we were not even running, we were actually standing, right? So that means we were actually going backwards as the world was going forward. So I think many people in the government do understand that. So they were very happy with this. So I do expect that there will be a better platform for a discussion between the government and the industry, that what are those priorities for the country in terms of technology, where which technology should be used. It's not necessary, or there is no silver bullet. There is no single technology which will solve all the problems.
Right.
There is a place for plant breeding, traditional plant breeding. There is a place for marker assisted breeding. There is a place for GM. There is a place for gene editing. So there are various opportunities to have an architecture of technological use to improve agriculture in India. I think that architecture is what will get crystallized more. Right. Because of this. Because through this framework, we can commercialize different types of technologies, not just one type of technology.
Right.
This will form the basis for that. And seed companies, large number of seed companies can get access to all those technologies. Right. I think I am personally very confident that government's ability or government's intention to equip our farmers to use modern technology gets strengthened with this, and it will pave the way for flow of more technologies into the country.
Right. So you're talking about an amalgamation of all these technologies to put a frame of development as a whole, right? So I want to ask you about modern seed technology. So in what way is it needed for the Indian seed industry, and how will it specifically benefit the farmers?
So when you talk of seed technology, we are talking of how to make better quality seed.
Right.
Okay, not in addition to what we are talking so far about traits and things like that. So as you know, seed quality depends on your seed production, your seed processing, quality management systems, and various ways in which you can give better quality of seed, which could be physical quality, could be genetic purity and genetic quality, and there could be seed vigor related technologies. There could be what are usually known as seed enhancement technologies, which will actually improve the shelf life of the seed, the presentation of the seed, the priming and various other things which are involved in that. So you can have a completely different quality which can flow into the system.
Right.
Now there are many such technological developments which have happened in the world. We don't use them as yet here in India.
Right.
But as you get higher genetic potential in seed, and more importance is added to the seed, the genetic potential, the need for better physical purity, the physical quality of the seed also increases, because then only the seed can deliver its full potential.
Right.
So I am sure that more technologies will have to flow into this category. There are such technology providers also outside. I think we should find, our seed industry will find it useful to collaborate and tie up with them, and then bring such technologies into the country, which will actually give the farmer the benefit that he is buying a better quality seed. It is a very, for example, if you go for more mechanization of agriculture, the seeds which get mechanically planted will need a different physical quality than the seeds which are, let's say, planted with our traditional systems, manually planted. So I think all those things will come in.
Right.
Obviously, they will not happen overnight.
Yes.
They will all happen sequentially over a period of this decade. I believe will be very transformative decade for Indian agriculture. So I am hoping for that.
That is something really good to know.
Yeah.
We have discussed so much about the technology development, right? So is this framework only going to be focused on GM based or GM trait companies, or is it going to benefit the non-GM and traditional seed companies as well?
No, it is meant for all technologies. It can be followed for all technologies.
Right.
It is only a model, right? So you can fit anything into that model.
Right.
It can be used for GM technologies, non-GM technologies. Can be used for licensing products.
Right.
So various things it can be used for. So there is no restriction or anything on that. We do see that it could be very broad-based type of application is possible with this.
Right. So I want to ask something, sir. What are the views of FSII on the cultivation of this illegal GM cotton trait seeds?
Yeah, so it is actually currently it has spread quite a lot. Now, particularly this year,
True. Yeah.
we hear that almost 18 to 20% of cotton area is covered with this.
Yeah.
So, which is actually quite a substantial portion of the cotton area. So, you know that this is called illegal only because it is unapproved technology. It's not yet approved by the regulatory authorities.
Right.
So, when it is something that is unapproved, and you know that GM technology is a highly regulated technology.
Yes.
The regulators look at various aspects of the technology before they approve it. So they look at safety, they look at various aspects. And so if it is a technology which is not yet approved, so that means by using it, people are taking risks. There could be risks with the quality of the product, with the quality of the crop that they will grow, and the environmental effects with misuse. So taking all these things into account, FSI believes that this is not right to use something which is unapproved. We do feel that there is a large network which is actually working towards producing and supplying these seeds to the farmers. We do believe that this is wrong and it should be controlled. We also feel that illegal stuff and smuggling happens when the legal thing is not happening, right?
It's not effective enough to control this.
Yeah, so there is a need for technology among farmers. Farmers need weed management technology in cotton. You know about the increasing shortage of labor. So labor costs have gone up. So people want options, technological options to handle that. So there is a demand, but there is no legally approved technology available in the market. So we can't blame the farmer fully for this, but I think the network which is actually supplying this illegal thing, we have to bring it under control. So it is actually a very difficult situation. It is causing huge damage to the good seed industry, the legally compliant seed industry, because they have lost sales. 20% of the sales are gone for that industry. So it is actually a threat, a challenge, which must be overcome.
So how can this be controlled?
I think it calls for a very strong administrative action by the state governments where the seed production is taking place. This is on one side. But on the other side, I think we must find ways of bringing the technology through the regulatory system, through the approval process, and bringing it to the market as early as possible. So I think it is always a race between those who are bringing it illegally and those who are bringing it legally. So the faster we catch up with that, the better it is. We have to find ways. Right now we have the benefit of the framework. So I am hoping that the companies which have these technologies for weed management will come forward and bring those technologies to the market.
Right. So what is the role of the independent governing body in managing this framework?
So we know that there are always multiple interests in this, right? So we said that there should be an independent person or an independent committee which will look at the interests of different people and try to balance in terms of the trait fee and in terms of how it has to be calculated and things like that. So the independent governing body we thought of will be headed by an independent person who is accepted and respected by all players in the seed industry and the technology industry. Someone of very outstanding caliber, and there will be some biotech scientists also in that. There will be representatives of seed companies and technology companies. So it will be a body which will look at the interests of different groups. They will assess the data that is presented by the technology company on the effectiveness and what that technology is delivering, and then look at various economics, crop economics, and then take a call on what range the trait fee should be operating at, and make it a consensus based approach rather than a confrontationist approach.
So will small seed companies also benefit from this framework?
Yes.
With respect to the traits and technology?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because that's what I said, that if there are 130, 140 companies who are actually having research capabilities, they all can potentially try to access the technologies. You know, there are certain criteria we have laid out for accessing technology. Someone who is ready to follow stewardship protocols. You know, stewardship is very important when you handle technology, any technology. whether it is mobile technology or whether it is GM technology, every technology calls for stewardship.
Right.
Stewardship ensures that the technology is used properly and it lasts longer and delivers value for a longer period of time to the customers, and it is used safely. So I think that stewardship protocols have to be followed by seed companies. The technology providers' responsibility is there, but the seed companies are the deliverers finally, so they will have to also. So that is one criterion.
Right.
Second is financial capability to actually manage the technology, because it calls for some investments. If you have to handle a trait, introgression, you need greenhouses, you need various investments. All that capability should be there, and similar kind of criteria are there, which are very simple. So we do believe that many companies can pass those criteria, and they will be able to. But they should have good quality infrastructure. They should be able to produce good quality seeds. Those things are there. We do believe that many companies out of these 130, 150 companies will pass that criteria.
Right.
They should be able to access. So many of them are small companies. So I don't see any issue that small companies cannot access technology. In fact, this will ensure. In fact, in IGB, there is a place we have put for 2 small, medium MSME companies.
Oh, that's really
So
interesting.
they will also have a say in that matter there.
Good. So coming to this GM technology, you know, there is so much of questions raised about it, and so much of doubt and insecurity these activists talk about. So what do you have to say about this GM technology?
Well, this is the same all over the world, not just in India. You know, it's a continuous debate that
Right.
goes on. With many technologies, these kind of debates do happen. GM is not the only one. You know that there are debates about other technologies also like that. You know, every technology has pros and cons. Simple thing like a mobile technology also has pros and cons. We all know about that. Similarly, every technology has pros and cons. How do you actually assess the pros and cons and decide that the pros outweigh the cons, right? Then only you will use the technology.
Yes.
So that assessment, when you are doing, who is the best person to do that? We do believe that the best people to do that assessment scientifically are the regulatory agencies, because regulators are equipped to do that.
Right.
So the regulators and GM is a highly regulated technology. So safety of the technology is one of the things that is always continuously discussed. It is assessed by the regulators, and we do believe that regulators do a damn good job of that. Right. Especially the Indian regulatory system is very good. We have no doubt about that. It's on par with the best in the world. So there is no possibility for any error on that front. Globally, the technology is used since 1996. So it's now more than 25 years that the technology is being used, and it has not produced even a single adverse reaction anywhere. Right. And it has produced very positive results in terms of reducing environmental impact of chemical usage. It has reduced chemical usage. It has reduced the fossil fuel usage. So various things, environmental benefits have also been quantified. There are studies. There are more than 1,800 studies which show that it is a safe technology. European Commission has conducted a study of more than 300 projects and papers and studies done on that. It is a meta-analysis which was done, and they have concluded that it is a safe technology. Okay. So safety wise, there should be no questions. There were questions about seed control by companies. Well, that is a debate which goes on all the time, because what is the role of seed companies and what is the role of technology companies? There were questions about affordability of the technology for the farmer. I am sure this framework addresses that. Right. So I think there are questions, but I think there are also answers to all the questions. We do believe that it is a technology which has proved its worth beyond a doubt and delivered value to the farmers all over the world. Otherwise, farmers won't adopt the technology year after year for 25 years. So, I think it's a very well established technology. In fact, we are lagging behind in India. We should use more of this technology. But like I said earlier, every technology must be used in its right place. It is not that one technology can be used everywhere.
Right.
So, we should decide where we want to use it and use it at those for that purpose.
Right. So, if we have to talk about GM technology in India, what are its priority application areas?
I mentioned earlier that I think we should look at reducing or I should say better insect control,
right.
Better weed management systems
Right.
because of labor shortage that is happening, water management definitely, reducing fertilizer usage.
Right.
I think these are the top priorities in my opinion, and also even producing some of the nutritious crops. I think we should put them because of our own priorities in the country.
Right.
We should put them on the high priority.
Good. So, we are on the last leg of this show. So, what next on this framework? So, what is the next plan about this?
So, we are actually working on forming the IGB,
Right.
and we have to also have people of that caliber.
Right.
We have to speak to them and then try to figure that out. We are also having dialogues with the different technology providers that they should take a relook at the country and come back with their technological options and start working on them again.
Right.
So, I think these are important things, again on priority areas only. We do not want that everybody comes with some 100 crops and then that does not serve the purpose.
Right.
Everybody must work on what is the priority for the country,
Right.
Priority applications, priority crops. So, we are having a dialogue on some of these things.
Okay.
So, I think a clearer picture should emerge in the next 3 to 4 months' time.
Okay, great. That's nice. So, you have provided us with a lot of information, lot of valuable information, and educated our viewers on the framework. So, thank you so much for your
Welcome.
valuable time
Welcome.
and knowledge sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for this opportunity to share my thoughts.
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful platform, and congratulations to you for having such a platform where people like us can come and share our views, and I hope and I'm sure your viewers will find it very useful.
Definitely, sir.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.